Hi guys, what's up? My name is Alex and thank you very much for joining this new tutorial. Now it's time to scrape this specific e-commerce website using Python, Beautiful Soup and the requests library. And here I already started searching for laptops and I actually can do this again. So let's go ahead and search for laptops and you will see that now we get this result page and it's up to us right now to scrape the specific data. So for example, the name, then we want to have the price, the reviews, the review count, then the product info and the product link. Okay, so actually we want to have 6 different data points and this is right now our goal for this tutorial. Here I've opened already the Jupyter notebook, which will be again our IDE for this project. Okay, so here I've already provided the headers. That means it makes me a lot easier when I right now recording this video, because I can just go and see what actually is needed. Okay, so here I've prepared everything. Again, for example, name, price, review rating, review count, the link itself and the product details. Okay, after we have scraped the data, we want to visualize it with the pandas data frame and finally store everything inside an Excel file. And then in the next part we want to use the pagination. That means we want to scrape results from multiple pages. Okay, that's it. This is the requirement for this video and I would say let's go and start this project. So first of all we need to make our imports. That means we start from Beautiful Soup. Okay, so from BS4 import Beautiful Soup. This is the first one. Then we need to import the requests library. Next, we need to import the pandas data frame. Import pandas as PD, and PD is the abbreviation, or let's say the convention for pandas. So every time you want to use pandas, it's okay to just write down PD and you don't need to write pandas every time. Okay. Now I will run the cell and let's see what happens. Okay, looks good. We don't have an error message. And now let's store the website inside the variable. That means I will go back to this result page. I can just copy this link here. Okay. And let's say I want to use this variable website, and inside this quotes I will paste the link itself. Okay, and now we are able to store this whole link inside this variable. Okay, next one, we need to make our request to this particular website. Let's go ahead and do this. First, our next variable is response. Now we need to do our request.get, because this is a get request. And now let me run the cell. Let's see what happens. Okay, this looks good. And afterwards, let's check it out what the status code is. Okay, response.status underscore code. Okay, when I run it, we have the 200, and every time we see 200 as the status code, that means we have successfully made our HTTP request to this specific website. Okay, so for those of you guys who are not familiar with status codes, you can just look it up. For example, here, this Wikipedia article is actually quite good. So if we scroll down, you remember we had this 200, and that means, okay, standard response for successful HTTP request. Okay, we also have a bunch of different other numbers, but now this is actually not necessary for us. Just keep in mind, if you want to have more information regarding all these codes, go ahead and search for this Wikipedia page and you will have definitely a very good overview. Okay, now let's go ahead and create our soup object. Every time we create the soup object, that means we have access to the page source. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. First, I create the variable, and then let's go ahead, use the Beautiful Soup. And the Beautiful Soup requires actually 2 different arguments. The first argument is the content. Okay, so response is the variable for the GET request to this website. Okay, now we need to make use of this variable and go for the content. This is the first argument, and the second argument is actually we need to choose a parser. There are different parsers out there, but now we are using the HTML parser. Okay, let me just run it, and now let's go ahead and try to print out this soup. Okay, and now let's see, we have this HTML elements here of this specific website. Okay, this is the whole logic behind it. So let's scroll down, and let's say, for example, I want to search for median Akoya. Okay, so this one, this first two words, median Akoya. Let's go ahead and just search for it. Control F, median Akoya, and you see here that inside this this HTML elements, I have right now information regarding this median Akoya stuff. Okay, that's it. This should be just a short demonstration that we have the HTML elements of this website inside this soup variable. Okay, so this is actually the initial steps. Every time you work with Beautiful Soup, at least these are my steps. I know there are a lot of different approaches, but for me this makes sense. Let's make a short wrap up how this initialization process actually went. First, we made our necessary imports. Then we have stored our URL inside this variable. Afterwards, we had to make a GET request. Okay, and we stored this request inside this response variable. Afterwards, we had to check if everything went fine, if we were successfully able to make the HTTP request to this website or not. And 200 means everything was okay. We were able to make the request. Afterwards, we need to create our soup object to get access to all the HTML elements on the website. Therefore, we need to provide two different arguments. Response.content was the first argument. Again, response was this variable here. And this second argument is the parser itself. Okay, and now we have this soup object, and you can go ahead and, for example, copy a random text here and then paste it just inside this elements. And if you find something, that means you have successfully gained access to the HTML elements of this website. Okay, that's it. Next, we need to store the results inside the variable. At least this is my approach. Again, guys, you don't need to refer to all of what I say, but I think if you follow me along, you might be interested in getting to know my approach. Okay, so first and foremost, what I do is I want to store the list results inside a inside a variable. So I go ahead and put or right click and then inspect, and let's see how we can store each result inside a variable here. Okay, I will inspect it again, and now let's check. So here you see that the first result is actually highlighted, and then let's take a look. So now we can use this div tag class attribute offerbox value. And what I do now is the following. I make a double click on offerbox. I will copy that back to the Jupyter notebook. And now I want to store it. Results equals soup. And now we want to get access actually to all these HTML elements. Soup.findAll. Okay. Then we go ahead and use the div, comma, and inside this curly braces, we need to use the class, colon, and then we have this offerbox. Okay, again, div class offerbox. This is this element here, okay? This line here. And you see on the left side, the first result is highlighted. And now, let's run this cell, okay? And let's find out how many results we have inside this first page. Okay, let's do it. Let's take a look. So actually you can see it here. So 1 of 24. That means if everything is okay. We have 24 results inside this first page. Let's make a cross check. So what I will do, I will make use of the length function, length and then results. So let's see. Okay, this looks good. That means we have successfully stored inside this website, inside this variable. I don't know why I say website. Inside this variable, we have successfully stored all the results of this page here. Okay, so we have 24 results, and this is definitely what we want to have. Again, 24 is this number, okay, and here we also have 24 because we have made use of this length function, and we want to check how many results we have actually stored inside this variable. That's it. Next, what we need to do, we can actually print out the first result. Okay, so results, and here you need to work with the index because now we have a list. Okay, and when we have a list, we can use indexes. For example, here, let's say 0 because we start counting from 0. And now we should get access to the first product. Okay, so results 0 means we have right now access to the HTML elements of the first product. We can again make a cross check. We have this median acquire again. Okay, Control F, median acquire, and you see here, voila, we have this results here. That means this is definitely the HTML part of this first result. Okay, this is good. Now let's start and target our data. Okay, we start with the name. Then again, we have the price, review rating, review count. Then we want to grab the product link and the product details. Okay, let's do it. So what I will do now is I will copy this results with the index 0, paste it here, and now let's go ahead and get back to this website. Right click on the name, let's inspect it, and now let's see how we can actually target this. So again, you see here we started with this line, right? So div class offer box, this gave us back all our results. And you see here, if we go down, now we have access to this product name. Okay, so this is actually here stored inside this anchor tag. And when I open this one, you see here that we have this text element. And this text element is actually the element we want to grab in order to get access to our product name. Okay, that's it. Now we can just work with this one. So a class and offer box title. I make a double click on the value. Okay, copy that. Let's go back to the Jupyter notebook. So results 0 dot find a, okay, comma. Then we need to open the curly braces. Now I go ahead and write down class, colon, and here I will paste the value. Okay, let's do it. And now let me just run this here and let's see what happens. Okay, now we have this snippet here, and this looks good because here we have the text element. It's that one, right? That means we need to make use of the get text function. And now let's run the cell again. And voila, you see we have successfully grabbed the name of the first product. So the logic of this project is actually to get access to all the data points we need for the first project, for the first product. And then we put everything together. It will be here inside a for loop for all products. Okay, so finally we will have access to all the products. That's it. Next, let's go ahead and search for the price. And what I will do in order to save some time is I will just copy this line here. Okay, copy that, paste it here. And now we just can make a few modifications. And then let's go and grab what we need. Okay, now let's go ahead, click on inspect, go to the price. And here you see that, oh no, wait 1 second. Let's take a look. Yep, this is what we want to have. Okay, we have this span tag class attribute offer price value, and everything again is below this result list item, which is this one, right? So div class offer box, this was the expression or the element for our result. Again, let's go back, and our results variable contains this one, okay? Div class offer box, and this is what we have here, div class offer box, and every information is actually stored down below. All right, now let's make use of this one, span class offer price, and I will go back to the Jupyter notebook. So this, oh no, sorry, let's scroll down here, right? We want to have access to this price, so it's span class, and for this one let me just paste the value itself. It's the offer price, and let's run this code. So this looks good. 449. Okay, so this was actually this line where we had access to this price point. Now I will copy this expression again to save some time. And now let's go ahead and see how we can get access to this review rating. So another approach is this one. So I told you that inside this results with index 0, we have access to the HTML elements for the first product. Okay, now let's take a look how this is structured. Here, for example, we have this star rating. Okay, this is our tag element, and inside this star rating what we have is the rating value with 8.1 and the ratings count. Okay, so let's go back to the website. Here, for example, you see that we have 40 reviews. That means this is our rating count, and we have 4 stars out of 5 stars. But inside this HTML information, we don't see something like 4 or 5. We have this 8.1. Okay, I just think they don't want to have 10 stars, but instead they want to have 5 stars. And at least this is my interpretation. So what I know for a fact is that here we have this rating value with 8.1 and not what we see here with 4. Okay, but for the 40, this is again okay, because here inside this rating count attribute we see number 40. And another aspect is that here this 8.1 and this 40, these are not text elements. Okay, these are values. Again, this is our attribute, and this is our attribute's value, or just the value. And that means we now cannot make access of this get text function. We need to have a different approach. And now let's go ahead and see how to grab this information. Okay, so review count. Sorry, we start with review rating. My mistake. Review rating. Okay, let's go up. And now we need to find it again. So I will just search for it. So it's rating, right? Was it rating? Or star? I just forgot it, to be honest. Here, this one, star hyphen rating. This is our tag element. Okay. And what we need to do now is the following. I will just copy that one. Copy that. And now let me just go back down. Okay, to this review rating. And now I will replace span with star rating. Okay. Then actually we need to change this expression. Find star rating. And now we want to get the value, okay, of the following attribute. And the attribute is rating value. Okay, this is our attribute. Let's copy that one. Go back down. Paste it here. Let's run the cell. And now we have access to 8.1, which is our rating value. Again, we started with the first product. Then we had to search for the star rating tag element. And from the attribute rating value, we wanted to have the value. Again, don't get confused. Rating value itself is the attribute, and the value of rating value attribute is actually this one. Okay, let's take a look here again. So star rating tag element, rating value attribute 8.1 is the value. That's it. Now the next one is actually very similar. What we need now is the review count. I can just copy this line, paste it here, and now we just need to replace we just need to replace this attribute. Okay, the other parts are actually the same. That means I will just copy this rating count. Okay, copy that, go back here, and instead of rating value I can just paste this ratings count. That's it. Let's run the cell, and voila, we see we have this number 40, and let's make a double check here. We have 40 reviews. That's it. This is the information we need. Now the next assignment is to grab the relative URL. Why relative? I can show it to you. So we want to have all the product links, right? And if I inspect this name, I see it's stored inside this anchor tag, and every time you see an anchor tag, you know we have a link. Okay, and this link is stored inside this href attribute, and you see here this is the relative URL because we don't have the root element. And as a short reminder, for this website the root element is this part. Okay, this is our root element. Then we have a slash and all the other remaining stuff. Okay, so in this specific example, this one is the relative URL, and this one is the root URL. That's it. This is it, guys. And what we need to do now is the following. Actually, here we have to make two steps. Okay, step number 1 is to grab this relative URL. Step number 2 is to provide the root element inside the variable, and then we need to concatenate both. Okay, so we have this root element, we have the relative URL, and then we need to put them together. Okay, that's it. This is actually the logic behind it, and let's see how we can do this. So here again we have this anchor tag class, anchor tag. Then we have the class attribute, and offer box title is our value. Let's just copy the value itself, and now go back here to the notebook. So results 0 dot find. Then, as I told you, we start with the anchor tag, comma. Then we proceed with the class attribute, and the value is this offer box title. Okay, let's run it again. And you see here that now we see that we can grab this href attribute, okay, because here we have this relative URL. This is it. And in order to get access to this value here, which is stored inside the href attribute, we just can make use of the .get function, and here let's provide href. That's it. I run it, and finally we have access to this relative URL. This is it for the first step. Okay, let me just make a short comment. Okay, extract the relative URL. Okay, this is step number 1. Step number 2 is to provide the root element inside a variable. Okay, and the root underscore URL, which is right now our variable, is this one, this here. Okay, this part of this website, copy that and paste it here. This is our root element. Let's run this one. And now what we need to do in our last step is to combine the URLs. Okay, or let me just make it a little bit clearer, or more clear, sorry. Combine root element and the relative URL. Okay, that's it. Now let's do this and provide a new variable here. So let's say URL combine equals root underscore URL plus relative URL. And this is actually it. So 1 second. Okay, I forgot I didn't store it inside the variable. Let me just do it. So relative underscore URL equals to this expression here. I will run it again. Okay. And now let me just make use of it. Relative URL. Okay, let's see. Let's run the cell. And now let's make use of this variable here. Or let's print it out. URL combine. Okay, this is good. Now we have the whole link. Okay, consisting of. Okay, let me just check. I've messed something up here. Okay, the root URL does not contain the slash. Okay, this is part of the relative URL. Let's see. This is our root. And if you take a closer look, this slash belongs already to the relative part. Okay, that means I will just remove this slash here, run this again, and then I will run this cell again, and this one too. That's it. Now we have just one slash, which is fine. I can just go ahead and grab this link here. Okay, let's grab it, copy that, open a new tab, paste it here. Let's run it. And you see that the link is actually opening. I had to drink something. Okay, now I will close it again. And this looks actually fine. Okay, so finally we need to make access of the product results. Okay, let's do it. Let's inspect this results here. And we see that we have this product info variable. And now we have this unordered list. Okay, UL stands for unordered list. I will open it. And you see here that for each info we have a separate list element. And inside this list elements we have the text elements here. Okay, you see on the left side what is actually highlighted. And there you can just navigate and check everything out. That's it. But for now, what is actually interesting for us is this whole product info. Okay, because we want to have all the results inside one column. Okay, now what I will do now is I will refer to this div tag, class attribute, product info value. I will just copy this value, go back to the notebook. Okay, and for the product details, again I start with results and the index 0, then dot find. We start with the div tag, comma, then inside the curly braces we have class, then colon, and we have right now the product info, and this was just the value I've copied, and here I have pasted it. Okay, that's it. Let's run it, and this looks actually good. We have this unordered list, what I've shown you a few seconds ago, and the 5 list elements here. And inside each list element we have the text information, okay, or the text element. And now let's make use of the .get text attribute, function. Let's do it. Okay, this looks better. Okay, this is good. And now let's make use of the strip function, .strip, and see what happens now. Okay, this looks better. And finally, what we also want to do is we want to replace all these new liners. So \n means we have a new line. Okay, so let me show you. For example, Iris XE graphics card, new line Intel blah blah blah. Let's see. Iris XE graphics card, and the new line starts with Intel Core blah blah blah. Okay, so it's exactly what we see here. And now let's replace all this \n with a simple comma. Okay, and we need to make use of the replace function. So replace \n and the second argument is just a quote, okay? And inside this quote we want to provide one comma, and then and space, okay? Comma and space. And what this actually means, this replace function, is the following. We want to replace \n with this expression, okay? That means a comma and a space. That's it. Let's run it. And this looks much more better, okay? Now we have information, these 5 different information points, separated by a simple comma. That's it. And I guess this looks actually fine. Okay. And then, so now we had access to the first elements. So for the first product, okay, we had our 6 data points for the first product. And now we need to put everything inside a for loop to get access to these 6 data points, not just for one product, but for all 24 products. Okay, that's it. So these lines were just, let's say, some kind of a preparation for the main part, which is the for loop, which comes right now. Okay, I would say I can pause this video. This will be part 1. And in the next video, I will cover part 2. This will be the looping through all the results. And then we also want to scrape not just 1 page, but 20 pages. Okay, and this whole process will be part of the second video. So thank you very much for joining, and I hope to see you in the next part. Thanks and bye bye.